I'm here at Base Performance Simulators with none other than Aston Martin racing driver and three-time Le Mans winner Darren Turner. Sold you off right there, haven't I? That's nice. To find out how important telemetry is on a racing simulator. So it's not so much just having fun today, Darren. It's more about, will I improve?
This is serious. And I hope you do improve. But yeah, basically, we're going to get you in there, get some running under your belt, and then let's see if we can use the telemetry to get you going faster.
Because there's lots of squiggly lines, lots of things that you probably don't know, I don't know, but we're going to find out right now. I'll be starting off by having a 10-minute session on the F1 simulator and then sit down with Darren to analyse the data and see just how much we can learn from the telemetry, taking a look at what all those wiggly lines mean and how those wiggly lines can make you a better driver. So Darren, I've just had my first attempt.
It was good as well. You can give yourself a little pat on the back for that one. Yeah.
Nice. That's always good to hear from a racing driver. So this is obviously the telemetry going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Can you run us through exactly what we're seeing? Because all I'm seeing is a lot of squiggly lines.
So we've got down the bottom row is steering, then it's onto brake and then onto throttle. Move up the screen, we've got here is basically car speed. Then this is effectively telling you what gear you're in. And the top line is a compare line in terms of time. Below the line, you're slower than the datum lap.
Okay.
And then above the line means actually you're quicker than the datum lap. Start with the steering first. So the obvious thing is how much steering you use. So turn one at the Red Bull Ring is effectively a 90-degree corner.
Yeah.
And you're using probably twice as much steering through that corner as required.
Okay.
A lot of that comes from just getting a feel for the sim and understanding where the peak of the tyre is. So the next time out, I'd expect you to sort of use less, and then the more runs you do, you'll build up a sort of a feeling for where the grip is via the steering. In terms of the approach, going looking at the speed, you can tell that the braking is a little bit early, so you back off the throttle. The overlap between throttle and brake is bang on, there's no problem there at all. And when you do apply the brakes, the pressure is probably a fraction low, maybe 10-15% lower than what you could achieve. Coming down the hill basically, or on the way to the hill, which is turn 5, and it's a bit messy. This is where I'd go, okay, now it's like overdriving. We've lost a
Turn 5's the first left.
Yeah, with the and it's a blind.
It's blind. I think that was
very
the thing
hard
for me. I was trying to spot the braking point
and the reference points.
Yeah.
So it is difficult through that point. The normal way is to V the corner, decelerate into the apex, rotate, accelerate out. So it's a clean V in there, where you've tried to keep car speed up. So if you look at the sort of car speed mid corner, so the datum lap right at the apex is 171, and at the same point you're 187 kilometers an hour. So it's just like massive.
I felt there was more
apex
front
speed.
end than there actually was. Yeah.
And then what happens is it just washes out.
Yeah.
All in all, like a really good initial run.
Yeah.
And actually not really anything majorly wrong. Some of the throttle application is more, quite often, what happens in the braking zone affects what's going on at the end of the corner more than most people sort of realise. So the only thing I'd be looking at in the next run is reducing the steering
angle.
And I think naturally you're going to find your reference points for the two blind corners. They're going to be a bit easier for you to sort of find those limits really.
Yeah, it's really interesting just to see all this data, because obviously when I'm in the car, I kind of, I've stamped on the throttle again. You kind of understand where you've gone wrong, but you never see it in front of you. So this is where I guess it's really helpful for sort of up and coming drivers.
Oh, massively.
Coming in the simulator, because then they can physically see where they're losing time to other people. 14.0 was that lap time. What are you hoping for me going into this one after looking at all that?
I think the potential's there to break into the 12s. I would have thought.
Wow. Okay.
But you need to. There's never any pressure unless there's some money.
Watching. That's right.
Unless there's money on the table, there's no pressure. But yeah, I mean, basically, it's just going to come from consistency and not overdriving the car. That's the thing. Ready for round 2?
No, but yes.
Yeah.
So now I'm back in the F1 simulator for my second and final run. Am I able to soak up all the information that I learned from the telemetry? Can I implement a smoother driving style which enables me to not give too much steering angle, but also improve lap time? So I've just come out of my final run. Obviously I'm quite happy with myself, but does the data reflect that?
It does, to be fair. I mean, your base lap from the last run was 1 minute 14. You've gained nearly 9 tenths, 8 tenths, well, easy 8 tenths on that lap. But the most impressive thing is the steering, actually. So on your first run, it was all about how much steering you were using and going right over the top of the tyre. And now it's reduced, like turn 1 is half of what you were using before. And you've actually gone for a sort of a less of a point and squirt type approach. You've gone for just backing it off a little bit under braking and carrying through the minimum
Yeah, I was
speed.
trying to be just a little bit more calm.
And it looked smooth. It looked good. You know, there was a couple of laps in there that were really hooked up, and it was like back on the power and away you went. Turn 3, actually not much of a difference in that corner. Probably still trying to take in too much speed to the corner itself. I'd say there's like a little bit of room for improvement.
So how would you, looking at that,
on that one,
the corner from?
I'd say brake in the same place, more pressure. So you need to get the brakes on at like peak pressure. So straight away hit the brakes as hard as you can to get the peak, because you've got all that aero helping you, so that can really help sort of slow the car down, and then bleed it off in a bit more of a sort of progressive way until you get the car rotated and then gradually feed the power on. It's sort of, you've done one way and you've done the other way, and we need it bang in the middle at the moment. So, but yeah, it was about the same on the lap time. The only thing that is, this is the only real negative at the end of the lap.
Yeah.
So 8 and 9 for turns are fantastic. It's just, you could have probably just taken a little bit more speed out of the car at the apex, and I'm talking 1 or 2 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
That might not sound a lot, but if you were in a race,
Yeah.
you've basically opened yourself up for an attack on the approach to turn 1.
Yeah.
So that little bit on the way out may cost you in the race. But great progress already.
I know, I mean, just looking at it and the fact that we had that first chat, I'm so happy that like the steering angle has kind of matched what you were kind of telling me, because I was thinking like sort of like, okay, just a little bit less and a little bit less, a little bit less, and I'm so glad it's shown, and it just highlights how helpful it is, because
It's a really good learning tool.
Yeah,
I would have been so upset if you'd come in with even more steering. I'm like, obviously you didn't understand what I was trying to say, but no, that's like big progress in such a short period of time. When you go, I'm now going to try and jump in and see if I can beat the lap. I'll be asking for a bit more power and more grip, please.
So that is it, we are done here at Base Performance Simulators. Darren Turner's been an absolute gem, finding me 0.8 of a second on the simulator, analysing all of that data and telemetry. It is mind-boggling the amount of information you can get just on a simulator, and I improved, so it works. If you want to watch another video, click just here. If you want to subscribe, click just here. If you want to go to our WTF1 shop, click just here. I'm Matt with WTF1. I'm pretty hot, so I'm going to go home now and into my car with air conditioning. Okay, bye, cheers, bye.